Factually inaccurate.
Morally correct. This is Babylon Bee Radio. Our top story. After Walmart announced plans to close 4 store locations in dangerous Chicago neighborhoods, Chicago Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson issued a dire warning that this will leave many Chicagoans with fewer places to shoplift.
Citizens of this great city have the fundamental right to steal merchandise in their own communities without resorting to traveling to other neighborhoods,
said Johnson at a local protest against the store's closing.
If our youths don't have a safe place to work, shop, shoplift, loot, fight, do drugs, terrorize citizens, smash windows, they may participate in riskier shoplifting, looting, and drug consuming in affluent communities where cops will actually bother to arrest them until my Soros-funded DA lets them back out on the street. We cannot let this happen.
Walmart executives insist the move is nothing personal.
We're just tired of our cashiers and store greeters getting beaten up and our every store losing millions of dollars. We'd prefer our workers not get beaten up and robbed and all that stuff. Sorry.
Civil rights leaders warned that if Walmart went through with the move, they'll encourage Americans to boycott shoplifting there entirely. In a related story, Bible scholars now believe the verse in Genesis about people being naked and without shame was a prophecy about Walmart customers. Theologian Bart Harmon surveyed his local Walmart.
The ancient prophecy has come to pass. There is no shame in this place.
Originally thought to describe the innocence of Eden, the verse in Genesis came under new scrutiny after Bible scholars realized it also described Walmart.
Does this make Walmart an Edenic paradise?
Asked Old Testament professor Roger Carmichael.
There are many theological questions still to be answered here. All I know for sure is that I went to Walmart to buy a coffee maker, and I observed a multitude of people without pants, who clearly felt no shame.
Interviews with Walmart customers confirmed that they do not have any clothes on and feel pretty good about it.
Embarrassed? No way. I just gotta be careful not to spill my icy. Hey, why are you wearing pants?
Newlyweds Drew and Jessica Perry have begun searching in earnest across San Francisco for a nice one-bedroom starter tent to begin married life together.
Look, babe, this one has a zipper. But the blue one on the corner with the tarp ceiling has great curb appeal. It's so hard to choose.
Although Mrs. Perry admitted she had dreams of securing a one-bedroom crack house with a half bath, she quickly realized such luxury was out of reach with Mr. Perry's meager $400,000 annual salary.
I've had to change my perspective a bit, but I just keep reminding myself it's only a starter tent. I'm still holding out hope there will be a toilet within a 5-minute walk. Oh, hey honey, look at this lean-to made entirely out of needles.
According to their realtor, the Perry couple almost pulled the trigger on a spacious 30-square-foot tent downtown before discovering that a hobo named Marvin liked to hang out in the tent while coming down off of ketamine.
We were doing our final inspection when we found Marvin in the tent, apparently hallucinating that he was an alligator. I mean, I love alligators, but it was a tough call, but we decided to pass.
At airtime, the Perrys had begun considering the alternative of buying a giant mansion in Arkansas. Despite claims from conservative media pundits that President Joe Biden's tour of Ireland was a disaster due to several verbal gaffes and nonsensical statements, a group of intoxicated Irishmen released a statement saying they were able to understand every word of what Biden said.
That Biden fella sure can't spin a good yarn, don't you know?
Said Seamus O'Riordan after finishing his 7th pint of Guinness before lunch.
I know he catches a lot of flack for not being able to speak clearly and all, but I've never heard such perfect pronunciation of our old traditional Connacht Irish dialect. It was just the way my dear old ma would speak when she was 3 sheets to the wind every morning.
Critics of the Biden administration were calling the trip an embarrassment after the president had confused New Zealand's All Blacks rugby team with the Black and Tans, a brutal British force deployed against Irish rebels in the 1920s. This was followed by Biden saying he was never going to leave Ireland, a pledge millions of American citizens wished would be true. All speeches given in Ireland by Biden, though thoroughly unintelligible to English speakers, were clearly heard by O'Riordan and his fellow drunk Irishmen.
Gifted orator the man is,
said Paddy Devitt.
Understood every word of it, I did. He told a beautiful story of his childhood in Ireland with his good friend corned beef pop.
While on his way back to the United States, Biden was overheard asking aides aboard Air Force One why he hadn't met any leprechauns trying to hide bowls of Lucky Charms from children, as he expected.
They're always after me, Lucky Charms.
Local parents Tim and Julia Yoder were understandably upset when their 17-year-old daughter Carly came home drunk last weekend. However, their anger quickly turned to relief upon hearing that Carly had not, in fact, been consuming Bud Light. We were certainly disappointed that she was drinking while underage. But at the same time, We're glad she was responsible enough to choose a less woke brand of alcohol. Carly's mother said they tried hard to raise their daughter right and instill her with strong values.
I'm not proud of this, but both Carly's father and I experimented with Bud Light when we were younger. I'm very proud that we raised our daughter to make better life choices and avoid some of the mistakes we made in the past.
For her part, Carly said the temptation to drink woke beer was definitely there.
Some of the kids had Bud Light at the party. Someone brought some of those commemorative Dylan Mulvaney cans. But I knew that was wrong, so I just pounded a 12-pack of Yuengling and called it a night.
The Yoders announced they would be surprising young Carly with a new car as a gift for her responsible behavior. We really couldn't be more proud of her. She's a really good kid. After legions of Texas feminists were thrown into an uproar over a court ruling prohibiting the sending of abortion pills by mail, Planned Parenthood CEO Jennifer Welch released a statement assuring people they would begin mailing out loaded handguns instead.
This will definitely get the same results. If the legal system refuses to allow us to provide women with the at-home healthcare option to conveniently kill their unborn children at home, we simply have to adapt and come up with alternative ways to help them end their babies' lives.
Sources say 9mm Glock pistols are already being shipped to customers in areas where they are unable to acquire abortion pills in the mail. Planned Parenthood claims the bullet method is a, quote, quick, painless, and effective means of aborting a baby and has, quote, absolutely no side effects.
Loaded guns are healthcare. Full stop. We need to get as many loaded guns into the hands of women with unwanted pregnancies as possible. It's the compassionate thing to do.
Planned Parenthood also announced they will soon be mailing out pruning shears for at-home gender surgery. The office of Dr. Rodney Thorne has had a busy week telling patients he is no longer providing gender-affirming care to minors, while also emphasizing that the decision to cancel all gender transition surgeries has nothing to do with a massive pile of lawsuits stacked against the wall behind his office.
Oh, those towering piles of legal complaints? They're, totally unrelated to my former practice of cutting the genitals off minor children,
said Dr. Thorne to reporters as a receptionist walked in and added a dozen more lawsuits to the piles teetering precariously behind him.
I'm transitioning my practice to focus on, spleens. Yes, I've always had a love for spleen surgeries.
Dr. Thorne explained how changing his surgical practice may leave a dent in his finances and added that he may have to sell off one of his yachts. His lawyer then leaned over and whispered in the doctor's ear.
What's that? Well, I guess I won't be selling any yachts as my assets are frozen, which has nothing to do with these lawsuits, which aren't even about gender transition surgeries to minors. They're lawsuits about dangerous microaggressions that I aggressed, and some of those papers are thank yous from very happy patients that totally don't want to kill me, and also I'm retiring tomorrow, today.
At airtime, Dr. Thorne's office had been boarded up, and he had been seen trying to get on a plane to Belize before a mob of kids whose lives had been destroyed by lucrative transition surgeries could catch him and tear off his limbs. Disney's live-action remake of The Little Mermaid promises to revitalize the classic with a more diverse cast and crew, as well as the addition of an extended romance scene that ends with Ariel reviewing and signing a 35-page consent form before Eric is able to, quote, kiss the girl. The music swells as the light flirtation escalates into steamy romantic entanglement with a drawn-out crescendo as Ariel reads and signs a 35-page consent form that Eric presents to her when she leans in for a kiss. Composer Alan Menken says the studio expects the adjustment to be a welcome change to modern viewers, serving as an overdue acknowledgement of the original song's, quote, pushy overtones. After making his poor suggestions for Eric to steal a kiss, Sebastian the Crab finds himself facing a long lecture from Eric about informed consent, requesting confirmation and written documentation of approval for any and all romantic contact before soliciting a kiss has become necessary for today's audiences. Standing in solidarity with the movie character, Duchess of Sussex Meghan Markle applauded the changes.
I, too, have been in Ariel's position. I have experienced the fear, trauma, and humiliation personally. One time, Prince Harry tried to kiss me too. I was terrified as his ginger face closed in on me like a giant lumpy orange peach. I screamed and ran for my life. I will never be able to erase the horror and pain of that moment.
Markle then broke down sobbing and blew her nose into a $3,000 custom handkerchief.
Even as a child, that kiss the girl scene terrified me. And then I lived it. That is true suffering.
After critics demanded Prince Harry atone for his actions, he finally released a 12-page apology in Cosmopolitan magazine. B Radio features officially curated content from the Babylon Bee. Scripted, voiced, and produced by Austin Robertson. Additional voices in this episode from Brandon, Dan, Emma, Kirsty, Kristen, and Travis. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe to B Radio on YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts.